Even Craig bot in the house. Everybody's in the
What up,
house.
Craig? Let's go. Oh, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. Closing down half of my tabs real quick. Clearing the mind. Quick meditation. We're just waiting for Charles. Just give us another 30 seconds or so, and we'll kick off. Hey, Charles.
Hello.
Okay.
Sound.
Sounds like everyone's mics are working. So
I have such a good mic right now. It's so
me
good.
or
Ooh,
you?
I do.
crisp.
Yes.
It's the greatest mic in the world.
Fantastic.
Just for this forum session, I rented it. Said I need a mic for the Aurelius forum session. They said, "Oh baby, let me get you something special."
They said Aurelius forum session? Yeah, we got you.
Yep. Turns out the guy's a degen.
Well, today we're going to talk about where he may have landed that degen in the Salt leaderboard
Ooh.
and what that means. It's
Very
going to
exciting.
be a pretty exciting conversation. Today we want to talk a little bit about the launch of AU. We want to talk a little bit about Salt and its conversion to AU. Let me quickly start with some statistics on my other page here. So we've calculated, we've put all the numbers up, and I have some percents here for you guys, because I know there was some curiosity, especially from RJK, around who earned what for specific actions. And we'll release this in an article as well pretty soon, so you can see it all in text form. But all up, there was around 542 million salt distributed. There were actually 1,008 total users as well. So that means with a cap of 888, about 12% of participants won't actually receive anything. But as we go down the salt ranks, the bottom 1,000 people the bottom 100 salt positions from 788 to 888 actually were ranging between 1,700 salt to the lowest of 512. So not really a ton of, even though there are 12% missing out, I mean, those people may not have even been aware that they were even involved in this. It could have been purely coincidence, or maybe it was just a little bit of dust. So feeling pretty good that, at least everyone that's engaged with us in the Discord should be pretty much taken care of, we think. It would be hard to not be included in this one. In terms of the distribution itself, trading AUSD netted about 1.4% of the total salt distributed, only 7 million. There were about 3,000 separate events of people swapping AUSD. And yeah, it's only impacted the salt ranking very minor. It was a late addition to the overall competition. It's one of our key insights as well, is that we should have had that from day one, as it greatly improved the maturity and confidence in the CDP itself. It also helped incentivize vClio and the liquidity emissions a bit better. So we definitely see that as an improvement for the next time. Referrals were the next smallest bucket. About 2.3% of all salt actually came from referrals, mainly to just a handful of users, 85 users all up, really. And a lot of those conversions were actually done manually. It was a bit of a pain, just like a bit of a problem with, I guess, that the points program software that we used. Something that, again, we can improve for the next time. Minting vClio was the next biggest thing. 6% of all of our salt went to the vClio lockers. After that, it was kind of like a 50-50 between the stability pool and lending and borrowing from Aurelius. So, interestingly, 181 million points went to the stability pool. That's 35.6%. And in terms of the lend and borrow, it ended up being 186 million all up. So really quite close. We're quite happy with how that balanced out. Kudos to UV, especially for helping balance that at the start. So
Yeah.
it came to, when we started looking at the actual distribution, it became obvious that it made the most sense to just have a linear distribution, given that there wasn't an enormous amount of like any sort of taking from the top to redistribute down to the bottom where salt was already minuscule. Just didn't really make much impact for those people. Like you'd be getting a $1 airdrop up to a $10 airdrop, but meanwhile the largest participants would be losing, between 10 to 30%. So we decided that it made most sense to just keep it linear. So that means that you can now convert your salt today to figure out how much OAU you're going to get. So the ratio is around 54.23 salt per AU. So again, we'll follow this up in a blog so you can see this all. But that should now give you the opportunity to figure out how many tokens are going to be hitting your wallet. We are going to be doing an airdrop for the OAU, so you'll just receive it in your wallet, and users will receive OAU around the same time that the redemption module is turned on. And I'll now kind of list out maybe before I move into the public sale schedule, UV or Charles, did you have any questions about Salt and sort of what's going on here, or anything that I've mentioned so far?
I do not have any questions. I appreciate the statistics. I think everybody's happy to hear that the stats they make sense. It seems like the campaign was generally successful. Salt came from the right places, went to the right places in pretty good proportions all around. So in terms of having a framework for a points program for our MRPs, Salt the Salt campaign has set a really, really good foundation for us to build on. And rather than having to redesign things for future iterations, we're pretty much, off the bat with like a little bit of logic and a little bit of forethought. Um, Off the bat, we just have to make small tweaks, and we can iterate on this quickly and pretty efficiently. Yeah, we got pretty close to perfect on the first try, which is pretty cool.
Very cool. I don't have any questions. I have a comment that I didn't ape enough. God damn it. I have FOMO even
I
after aping.
I Yeah, I actually aped my bag on day one and just let it ride for the whole campaign. So
That's like
I haven't even checked how it stacks up to other people, but I just committed a huge chunk of capital on day one and just let it ride. And I hope that it accumulated a ton of salt.
was it in the stability pool? Bro, you're cooking.
It's in, I LP'd. I wanted some of that trading
Oh,
fees.
nice.
Which I think worked well because we ended up incentivizing trading. So I'm hoping that my huge LP bag just soaked up. I did actually anytime anytime AUSD dropped under peg, I aped into the stability pool, and then when it restored, I went back to the LP. So I actually did arbitrage a little bit as well. I think one of the arb trades I made like $400 in like a week, just because it dropped below peg and I just aped in, and then it restored peg and I just took the cash. So arbitraging like liquidity based stablecoins is some alpha for everyone in the chat right now. Like the system is programmed to restore price through redemptions. So if it's not really a case of like, is it going to restore peg? Is it going to depeg forever? Like, it is only ever a matter of time before 99.5 cents is restored. So if you can catch it below peg, it's like 100% going to be a profitable trade, shy of like actual exploit or being under collateralized. But if it's a natural depeg just because of sellers, it's a guaranteed arbitrage trade. It's not a matter of
Mm.
if it will repeg. So
Actually,
yeah,
shout
that's
out to
easy money.
shout out to Erzengel, who I think was one of the first, way back in the day, one of the first community members to like fully understand it was the ethos reserve system. Like right at the beginning, peg was like, just finding its place. There's a ton of volatility, and it would go up to like $1.10, and then it would be like 98, and then over a couple weeks, it kind of just that gap closed a lot. And throughout that time, I remember Zengel was just like arbing that, he's like minting every time it was over, buying every time it was under, and just like did a ton of successful arbitrage. So, shout out to you, Zengel. Um, Yeah, nice. Yeah, I've just been in the stability pool, but I don't know. I minted a certain amount at the beginning, and then I just didn't do anything. And halfway through, I was like, I should mint some more, and then I just forgot, and now I'm like, no, it's all right. I will just have to buy. I will just have to market buy.
It's been me on Ironclad trying to catch up. See, I did Aurelius, not Ironclad. But yeah, this is it's pretty exciting. We're so excited to get this thing out. So excited to get to the next stage of growth for Aurelius. And now I'll quickly outline some of the next steps. So we're going to do a blind auction through Access Protocol. We've spoken about it in the past. That is currently set to commence on the 12th of August. So make sure you're pocketing or preparing for this blind auction. The minimum bid, we're not really quite sure what it'll be, but expect it to be a couple $100 just because Access can't support infinite auctions. There has to be some sensible limit of buys to keep complexity low. So we're trying to figure out that right amount, and we'll speak throughout the next 10 days about strategies around this to try and get everyone up to speed. It's our first time using this software too, so it'll be a shared experience in that way. I see a comment here from Azangle around redemptions. Yeah, redemptions hopefully will be going away long term for us as we try and sort of shift to systems that aren't so difficult for users to comprehend in that way. Redemptions make it quite dangerous for leveraging. So trying to find a system that can survive outside of that. But we'll have more details on that when we're ready. But Ironclad has implemented an implementation of a model that doesn't require redemptions on.
No, wait.
Oh,
Ironclad will still have redemptions. This is
It's
this is
yeah.
there's a middle ground. So the end state will not have redemptions, but the middle ground design is still the liquidity model. It just has the collateral management fee, but it still has redemptions. This is a very common point of confusion.
yeah. Hence, because we are trying to get to that end state, so that's my bad.
Yeah, correct. The first step is to handle interest-bearing collateral much better, which will help to avoid redemptions, but it still requires redemptions. Very quickly, question: how does the peg get back to 99.5 cents without redemptions? It does so with an interest rate applied to borrowers. So if the peg drops below $1, then borrowers have to pay interest. And the only way to not pay interest is to repay the loan, which requires purchasing stablecoin from the market, which brings the price back up. That's like the summary.
Very good. These new stickers are great, by the way. Keep it up, community. This is awesome. So
Aurelius has the best stickers in the game.
I think
I
so.
think. Yep.
So back onto the timeline. So we're set to commence on the 12th. We're going to let that last for 72 hours. So nice and quick. And after the sale expires, we will then have a processing window to seed liquidity and get AU staking live, kind of similar to Ironclad for those that were there for that. Once there's a bit of time-weighted price stability, and once staking volatility is sort of settled, we're aiming to do the airdrop on the 20th, roughly. I have little like estimate, tildes in front of these dates on my writing. You can't see them, but remember this is subject to change. The launch price sequestical is up to you. Since we're doing an auction, so you'll be able to set whatever price you think it's worth. And what will happen is at the time of strike, everyone will, if you were above the minimum price, you'll be brought down to the minimum price. So you don't have to be worried about overspending so much. But this system allows for you to price AU, not us. So that's why we're really interested in it. So yeah, curious to think what you think it should be if you want to share. Thanks, RJK. That's awesome. Yeah. Maybe not after we added the extra decimals, but we'll see.
I'd like to emphasize a point that you just made. If you do some calcs and come up with a valuation and you overbid, whatever the minimum accepted price is at the end of the auction, whatever you overbid will be reduced back to that minimum bid. So if you overbid, you won't be taxed for overbidding. If you want to pay $100 and Charles wants to pay $200 and the minimum is $100, Charles will get $100 back and his purchase will go through for $100.
Correct. And if
Interestingly
you
enough,
bid
this
under
is
minimum, you get refunded your bid and you don't get anything. And so this is why users should probably consider doing multiple separate bids, which you're able to do. So you could have some bids at different prices and then land on, just to make sure you're like caught up in it. Yes. Yeah. Go ahead, Charles. Did I cut over you?
I was gonna say, now I'm pretty sure it's, I think it's probably, there's some details that are slightly different. Yeah, Google did use that mechanism to IPO, and also this is how T-bill auctions work. In the US, whenever they auction off T-bills, it's called a sealed bid system, where the bids determine the discount rate to be paid on you. And yes, who tried this? This has been tried a couple times in DeFi. I think, am I gonna get this wrong? Was it Gnosis Safe? Did they try Gnosis? Anyway, there was an OG protocol who tried this, but the problem was that all of the bids were public, and so it didn't work. And so Axis has a system where like all the bids are private, so you can't see what other people are bidding, because obviously that won't work. Not really sure why they thought it would work the other way, but in any case, yeah, they're all private, and then at the very end, it's like, okay, this was the minimum bid. Yeah, I'm really, really excited to see this unfold, because it's cool. I like this. I like this mechanism, and I'm excited to see what we land at. And it's nice to have a mechanism where the market is deciding the fair value. Um, bullish.
So, question from Grand Tonto: what do we purchase the option AU? What do we redeem option AU with? And the answer is mantle. It'll be wrapped mantle, I believe, or I think it's wrapped mantle, either mantle or wrapped mantle. But
The
that
wrapped
will
mantle.
allow, yeah, that will allow. Hold on, what happens if he is under the price? If he bids 100 and it's 200, then in that case, there's angle. If you bid under the price, you would receive nothing. You would just get a refund post sale and get that capital back.
Yeah, but that price is a cutoff. You don't have to be the top bid. Like the tokens will get allocated starting from the top bid down. So you just have to be above whatever the cutoff ends up being, and we don't know what that will be.
Yep. Yeah, so on Mode, we managed to secure 0.5% of the supply of Mode token in 24 hours through this option token mechanism. So hoping to have a similar level of success. I mean, I don't know. Mantle's much more distributed than Mode is. So maybe not 0.5%, but we'll give it our best shot. And yeah, we'll be able to become a large player in the Mantle system through it, hopefully, and be able to build up a pretty nasty protocol and liquidity bucket. So yeah, long term, we're really excited to get the emissions flowing. There will be some exciting yield opportunities as we move from salt to real yield. So yeah, get ready for AU staking and get ready for real yield to be paid out on these markets through AU emissions. What'll be OAU emissions. And yeah, we're pretty excited. I guess, are there more questions from anyone? I see Grant Tonto's coming in with more. Yes, there will be a single relic. It'll be identical to ICL single staking. So it'll be single stake. There will be some LP staking in the future, but we're going to launch just with single stake. And we're also going to do we're planning on doing an AUSD vault that holds AUSD in majority, but then purchases AU as well, like up to 20% through, it's called ICHI, ICHI. They do a single asset deposit vault. So we'll take AUSD from anyone and use it to essentially LP against AU. So expect to see that hit the front end as well. And that will also be emitting OAU emissions. So you'll be able to stake either AUSD or AU quite soon. The LP will be AU MNT on Clio, and it will be a volatile pool. The reason why we're doing a volatile is just so that it's very very simple, very passive for everyone, and we can also build some sort of compounders on top pretty easily as well. Yeah, the top salt earner is getting a fat stack. It's pretty awesome. You know, we are in communications with that holder. They are very much invested in the ecosystem, so you know, hopefully they're not feeling too evil, but they've earned it, frankly, with the amount of capital committed to the system, and they've helped to bootstrap a lot of it. So yeah, it is what it is. We all should have
I
done
think
even better.
I think Samson's saying they to obfuscate gender. I don't know what gender the person is, but I think that's why
Yeah, I'm
we
just
did
trying
say
to be
they.
a bit more cryptic.
For the staking, will fee/revenue from AUSD be funneled to stakers along with other emissions from lending spread/fees and the stability pool? Aurelius as a whole, there's a lot going on. There's lending market, there's stablecoin. There are some mechanisms that kind of require the revenue to be directed to certain places. For example, collateral in the CDP that's rehypothecated to the lending market. By design, that yield is supposed to go to the stability pool to make sure that the stablecoin has scalable yield. But all the other revenue from the protocol, um, be it like a vast majority of the premiums that come from options tokens and the spread and fees from the lending side of the house, that all gets directed to the single staked AU position. So if you have AU tokens staked in there, you will have a sustainable and effectively infinite source of yield. And on top of that, if you're migrating Oath and Grain to get exposure to CDX, CDX will get a percentage of the AU allocation, which, the Codex Treasury will stake some of it, LP some of it, and generate yield that will go back to CDX as well through Aurelius. So you can kind of pick your adventure with how you want to get that yield.
There will be some flow diagrams, yeah. I mean, it is pretty similar to the Ironclad one. If you look at the single stake for ICL, you could just replace, the mode specific assets with mantle specific assets. So for example, instead of ETH and mode, it will be METH and mantle. Yeah, good question from Jesse around CEX listings. Is it on the roadmap? I mean, yes, but not like nothing is confirmed and nothing to share. We would like to obviously have a greater distribution if possible through some avenues like that, but we're also not sure if it really moves the needle a lot for Aurelius at this time. We're kind of eager to see how it affects some of the other projects that we're tracking in the current state of things. And yeah, we're going to just do our best to make the decentralized distribution as effective as possible.
Maybe something I'd like to add, just in relation to like a few of the questions that we've had about how staking works and flow diagrams and whatnot. I guess it's a good opportunity to remind you guys that the kind of the restructure and the unification of Oath and Grain and now, I guess you call it a pivot again to the MRP construct and how we can replicate these protocols natively on different networks. The underlying code base is built to be modular, and we're still working to refine some aspects of it. But generally, the code base is, it's generalized and it's modular. So when you ask how certain things work, most of the time it will work exactly the same way that it's working on another network, and the only changes will be iterations towards better products. So for most of your questions, like how's the single staking going to work, and flow diagrams and that kind of stuff, most of the information is available in the other protocols. And granted, there's some onus on us to recommunicate that stuff for Aurelius, but it kind of gives you an edge because you're ahead of that learning curve already because you've seen it. You can see it play out elsewhere, which means that you know that whatever's coming is going to be equally as capable, if not even better, because we're only going to iterate towards better products. So yeah, just something to keep in mind is that our code base is modular. So if you see it working somewhere, we can make it work elsewhere. If you see single staking working on Ironclad, we'll probably use the same single staking for Aurelius. And the same goes for features like our looping vaults and LP vaults on Harbor. that are receiving a little bit of front end attention at the moment to make them look a bit nicer. But that same infrastructure we can deploy for LPs on other MRPs, and we can do that pretty rapidly. And we are still getting faster and faster. But yeah, we have these all of these like foundations and blueprints already laid out. It makes us able to move faster and more securely because we already have our processes in place. We already have our checks and balances. I just want to add that.
Cool. Well, I mean, I've hit most of my notes here. Anyone have a suggested bridge from mode to mantle? Yes, I've been using Symbiosis, which I'm happy to show. Squid is another good one. Yep. And the Old Faithful Jumper is can be pretty good as well. And they sort of aggregate for you. But Mantle's getting fairly plugged in now, so most bridges are kind of there now. Cool. Well, yeah, definitely definitely gonna give you guys another moment for any other questions, but you know, we are pretty excited to get this thing out, and yeah, greatly looking forward to the next chapter of Aurelius on Mantle. Any closing thoughts, Charles, on your side?
That meme. Every time there's a YouTube video that has the word Bite Masons in it, YouTube puts a little information thing below it telling me all about the Freemasons. So, like that meme. And I'm like, okay. Closing thoughts, 6-page closing speech. Let me just get my notes. No. No, I'm just very excited. Aurelius has been cooking for quite a while, and yeah, having AU on the horizon is extremely exciting. Yeah, I'm very excited about this public sale. I'm really excited to see how that pans out. And I think, in terms of Ironclad, it went so well. Or like a lot of aspects of it went really well. And it's really nice to have that experience in the back pocket for Aurelius, and like it can be even better. So yeah. I'm just bullish. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks all for coming.
All right, yeah, we'll close it off. Just applying to Ozengel. Yes, so if you joined late, get ready for scheduled sale on the 12th. Airdrop's likely going to hit around the 20th. And yeah, really excited. We'll see you on the forums. Get ready for the next Zeely as well as we head into that. It's going to be awesome. All right, see you guys around. Much appreciated.